Hello and a very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to this week's markets with myself, Edmund. So for today, it's a Monday, 14th of September 2020. The economic calendar is pretty empty. We will just be having some minor data coming out from Japan, which will be the revised industrial production numbers at 12:30 p.m. And towards 5 p.m., we will be having the industrial production numbers for the Eurozone. There is no significant economic data release from the US tonight. Markets will be focusing on data coming out from Tuesday, Wednesdays, and leading up all the way until Thursday, as the Federal Open Market Committee, in other words, the US Federal Reserve, will be having their meeting announcements on Thursday morning, 2 a.m. local Singapore time. So, looking at what happened over the last 24 hours of the market days, in other words, last Friday, the US dollar was consolidating after moving up on last Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and also coming down towards last Wednesday evening, and was pushing down on last Thursday before recovering towards last Thursday evening. And on last Friday, the US dollar was just mostly in a consolidation phase. Consolidation phase, moving up and down within a very tight range. So with the US dollar in a consolidation phase on last Friday, we also saw the UK pound also moving in a tight trading range. Actually, it wasn't that tight. It was still moving from a high of about 1.2858 all the way to a low of about 1.2760, about 97 pips movement down. And then after that, started to move up again, another about 95 pips, 97, 95 pips. During the US trading sessions. So again, major moves happening on the UK pound as the Brexit negotiations are catching the headlines, and most of the headlines or news regarding Brexit was mostly negative. So we do see again the UK pound weakening from a high of about 1.3467 on the 1st of September, coming down for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, before finding some support at 1.2772 levels. So last Friday it was very quiet in the Asian trading sessions, slowly crawling up about 60 pips, and then after towards 11 plus 5, 16, 4 p.m. Or actually it started as early as 3 p.m. the UK pound moved down from a high of 1.2860 all the way to a low of 1.2763. And then after at about 5 p.m. moved back up to a high of about 1.2863 again. So it came back to 1.2863 levels twice before pushing down again at about 7 p.m. from 1.2863 levels to a low of about 1.2772 again, and that support was well sustained. So currently it's still a bit quiet, but if this support is anything to go by, we could see the UK pound slowly moving up. So the immediate target price would be at 1.2860 levels, which is about 50 pips to the upside, and to the downside we are looking at support levels of 1.2770, which is about 50 pips to the downside. So at the moment the short-term range is 50 pips to the upside and 50 pips to the downside. Moving on to the euro dollar was also moving up last Friday, as early as 6 a.m. last Friday, from 1.1818 all the way to a high of 1.1872, went up only about 53 pips, and then after it came back down at about 6 p.m. 1.1870 all the way down to 1.1826, and then it formed a good support over here. So currently it is still marginally quiet. So if the US dollar was to strengthen or weaken, we could see the euro dollar come back down to the support levels of 1.1825, which is about just 20 pips to the downside. And if it does strengthen, we are looking at a target price of about 1.1872, which is about 27 pips to the upside. So currently, as you can see, even on the daily charts, the euro dollar is in a consolidation phase. So personally, again, I would advise traders to trade on the UK pound, or if you're looking for commodities, of course, trade on the gold prices. So for currencies, you can still focus on the UK pound. movements. Euro dollar has gone a bit quiet since last Friday. Okay, just a range of about 50 pips or so. Okay, so moving on to gold prices. Gold prices, last week we saw it consolidating also after being very active on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So on Tuesday, it found support 1906 levels and then moved all the way to a high of 1966 on Thursday evening. Okay, and towards last Friday, it was in a consolidation phase, trading from a low of about 1937 to a high of 1955, and then after it came back down again to 1939 levels. So it was a trading range of about 17 US dollars up and 17 US dollars down. So this morning, gold prices started pretty much on a positive note, moving up from 1939 all the way to a high of 1951, coming up from these support levels over here. So yeah, we got to watch and see what happens in the UK trading sessions. There's a high chance if it does come down, the target price would be 1939 again, which is about $11 to the downside. And if it does choose to go up, we are looking at the immediate resistance of about 1967 US dollars, which is about $17 to the upside. Okay, yeah, but watch out. I think there could be a chance that it could be pushing down later towards the UK and also towards the US trading sessions. Okay, so although today's economic calendar is pretty empty, the UK traders or the UK banks are still open, and the US banks are also open tonight. So we can expect some movements and volatility also on the markets, even though there's a lack of economic events. Okay, so there were comments by German Finance Minister Olaf Scholz mentioning that a no-deal Brexit would have worse or very significant negative consequences on the British economy as compared to the European Union economy. Okay, so Boris Johnson, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, also replied to comments from European Union parties that threatened that the UK could be in breach of international law and also breaching the terms and conditions of the original Brexit withdrawal agreement. So UK Prime Minister Mr. Boris Johnson insisted or explained that the UK needs to get through with their own bill internally between the UK and also Northern Ireland in order to proceed further with the Brexit negotiations. Okay, so again, it is quite a intense standoff at the moment between the UK and also between the European Union. So other news and events coming up over the last 24 hours, the US Treasury Department reported that US federal deficit rose above 3 trillion US dollars for this year, and of course the US 3 trillion US dollar deficit was triple the amount of 1.06 trillion for the previous year. So this was again due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, which caused not only the US but global economies to almost go to a standstill, and this deficit was actually incurred as quantitative easing measures and also as funding measures to fight the pandemic, number one, and also to pump money into the economic system in the US to assist corporations, businesses, and also individual households to survive this lockdown situation. Okay, so the Congressional Budget Office has projected a full year 2020 deficit to hit 3.3 trillion or 16% of GDP, which is the highest level since the end of World War II. Okay, so the implications would be that with such a high budget deficit, most people will tend not to hold the US dollar in fear that number one, whether the US is able to repay the interest or the yields on the financial products that they have issued out to investors. And number two, again, with a high budget deficit, we do see demand for the US dollar dropping even as early as the months of March this year. Okay, so it's been coming down from 103.70, the US dollar weakening until recent levels of about 90, just below 92 levels. Okay, So yeah, and also due to the fact that interest rates will remain low, it also helped to push the US dollar to multi-year lows recently. Okay, so yeah, these are the reports by the US Treasury Department and also comments regarding Brexit over the last 24 hours. So moving forward for this week, the focus will still on be the will still be on the UK and EU Brexit negotiations, and secondly, it will be on the FOMC announcement of their meeting minutes. Sorry, not meeting minutes, announcement of their monetary policy statement at about 2 a.m. on Thursday, local Singapore time. Okay, so yeah, that was for gold. Our prices has gone a bit quiet, and finally, we can have a look at the US S&P 500. Okay, so S&P 500 is also going through a consolidation phase after coming down on the 3rd of September. So for the last few market days, it is finding support at 3,314 levels and a resistance at 3,419 levels. So it is a trading range of about 104 points. So currently it is trying to push up again. Yeah. So Monday's market, aside from gold, which moved this morning, currency pairs are still relatively quiet. So we'll wait for the UK and US markets to come in to decide the sentiment for the week and also how we're going to trade for the rest of the week. Okay, so for those guys who came for my beginner trading session on Saturday, very warm welcome to you, and welcome to the daily market outlooks. So yeah, so that about wraps up today's market outlook. Hope you guys have a good trading day ahead. Wait for the markets to move before jumping onto the market, and we'll see you guys again for tomorrow's update to understand the latest market sentiments. Okay, have a good day. Thank you and take care.